Hello, my name is Keegan McMahon, and this is my final internship presentation for Business 340. This summer, I completed a 3 credit hour internship as sales and marketing intern with Sherwin-Williams, working out of their Fort Wayne retail location. It was a summer that pushed me well outside my comfort zone and taught me far more than I expected going in about the paint industry, about retail operations, and honestly about myself. Over the next several minutes, I'm going to walk you through who I am, who sponsored my internship, a little about Sherwin-Williams as a company, and what my day-to-day duties looked like, and the biggest part of this presentation is what I actually learned and how it ties back to concepts I've studied in this program. I'll close with some honest reflections on the experience as a whole, including what went well and what genuinely challenged me. Thank you for watching, and let's get started. So, a little introduction. I was a business administration major at Lourdes University. I am now attending Toledo University, studying their Bachelor's of Business Administration, as well as starting my master's in finance through their MBA pipeline. Academically, I've always been drawn towards finance, sales, and eventually a career in wealth management. So when it came time to choose an internship, I wanted something that would sharpen my communication skills and give me real exposure to how a customer-facing business actually runs day to day. That's exactly what led me to Sherwin-Williams. This past summer, I worked as their sales and marketing intern at the Fort Wayne store, where I was able to step outside the classroom and put a lot of concepts I've studied into practice. Working directly with customers, contractors, and experienced retail team, it ended up being one of the most hands-on learning experiences I have had in my education so far. And by the end of the summer, I generally felt more confident, more professional, and more prepared for my client-facing environment than I did on my first day. I'm excited to walk you through it. My sponsor for this internship was Ariel, the store manager at the Fort Wayne Sherwin-Williams location. Ariel was directly responsible for overseeing my onboarding, assigning my daily tasks and responsibilities, and making sure I was actually learning something rather than just filling time. Part of my onboarding was called Onset. Onset is what they assign all the interns so that they can learn more about product knowledge, how to talk to contractors, what to do on a sales call, and just how to add more value to the company. What stood out to me most about her leadership style was how hands-on and patient she was. Instead of just telling me what to do, she let me take on real responsibility, make mistakes, and learn from them, the same way she would with any new employee. She also modeled what it looked like to lead a team while still being deeply involved in the details of the store's daily operations, which is a balance I hadn't really seen up close before. Beyond Ariel, I also worked closely with assistant manager Edgar, who handled a lot of the day-to-day operational side of the store, and sales representative Connor. Me and Connor went on a sales ride, and we basically went out to this contractor's house where he worked out of, and he said he was having problems with this brand called Symmetry. So what we did was we went out to the job they were working on, and we saw that the painters were using the wrong type of brush. So Connor and going on that sales ride really helped me understand what sales reps do and how to fix mistakes, and it was really interesting to do that. Sherwin-Williams is a global leader in the paint, coatings, and specialty chemicals industry. And the store I worked at was part of their paint stores group, which was the company's retail division. As a publicly traded company, Sherwin-Williams reported about $23.5 billion in net sales for the most recent fiscal year, and they operate more than 4,900 stores across North America. The company was founded back in 1866, so there's a long history behind the brand, and that scale gave me a sense of just how much operational structure sits behind a single neighborhood retail store. But honestly, the numbers aren't what stood out to me most this summer. What I noticed working inside one store is that Sherwin-Williams isn't really built around just selling paint. It's built around solving problems for the people who buy it. Every part of the operation, from color matching to contractor orders, exists to make the relationship easier. And the customer-first mindset is a thread running through the company. Fun fact about Sherwin-Williams is they retire the most millionaires out of any other company in the entire world. On the customer-facing side of my role, my responsibilities covered a handful of key areas. I spent a lot of time on general customer service, greeting people, understanding what they need, and pointing them towards the right products, which sounds simple, but actually takes real practice to do well and quickly. I also learned how to do paint color matching, which involves reading a sample and mixing an accurate match using the stored equipment, which took some time and I'm still trying to master it. Alongside that, I built up my product knowledge across the different paint, primer, stain, and coating lines the store carries, since customers expect you to actually know what you're recommending, not just point them towards whatever's closest. And at my time at the store, I realized there's way more to know about paint than I thought. Every product has about 10 different lines, and every line has different bases. And it's so hard to finally understand all the paint. I'm still learning, and it's so hard to find, to truly know all the paint products and everything that goes along with it, and what they do, and what their specialty is, and why it's better than this paint. That was super hard to learn, and I'm still learning that. And finally, I spent time assisting contractors, directly helping them prepare and confirm their bulk orders, which meant learning to move faster and more precisely than I could with a typical walk-in customer. These responsibilities gave me constant, repeated interaction with customers, which set the stage for a lot of what I'm about to describe in my learning experience. On the operational side, away from the sales floor, my duties looked a little different. I was responsible for inventory management, organizing stock, and keeping track of product levels so that shelves stayed full and nothing ran out unexpectedly. And when they did, I had to go run to other stores nearby to go pick it up for our contractors or DIY customers. I also helped unload and check in weekly truck deliveries, and towards the end of the internship, it turned into 2 times a week truck deliveries, which was not fun. But truck deliveries are honestly more physically demanding than people expect, and it taught me a lot about how much coordination goes into keeping a retail store stocked. I spent a significant amount of time learning the store's point of sale system, which handles processing sales and pricing. And I'll be honest with you later in this presentation about how challenging that actually was to pick up. And I finally completed a series of company onboarding modules covering policies and procedures, which gave me the background knowledge I need to actually understand why the store operates the way it does. Together, these behind-the-scene duties combined with the customer-facing ones I just described are really the foundation for a learning experience throughout the internship. This slide is what stuck with me the most this summer. It was one of the most beneficial concepts to learn about sales. The first concept is customer relationship management, or CRM, a business strategy focused on building long-term relationships with customers to encourage loyalty and repeat business. I watched this play out constantly at the store. Employees would greet contractors by name and recall their past purchases without even checking a screen. And that kind of trust is exactly why those contractors kept coming back instead of shopping somewhere else. It made me realize CRM isn't really a software system, it's a daily habit built through consistency over time. I tried to learn every contractor's name the first time I met them, because I know I'd see them again soon. The second concept is professional selling, which is a need-based selling approach. Asking questions to understand a customer's actual problem before recommending a product. Instead of defaulting to the most expensive paint on the shelf, staff would ask what the customer was painting and how much wear it needed, where it would be, if that's interior or exterior, if it'd be in the sunlight, if it have a lot of rain on it, like if it wasn't covered, and how much wear it needed to withstand. Then match a product to that specific answer. That approach builds trust in a way that a hard sell never could. And it's probably the single biggest shift in how I think about selling anything. 2 more concepts rounded out what I learned this summer. The third concept is communication and teamwork. Clear, consistent communication across different roles that keeps operations accurate and efficient. This showed up constantly because contractors, coworkers, and delivery drivers all had to stay coordinated for orders to go out correctly. And a single missed message could throw off an entire delivery. I saw firsthand how much a business depends on people simply talking to each other clearly and consistently. The fourth concept is problem solving and decision making, a structured approach of diagnosing a problem before jumping to a solution. This one came through clearly on the sales rep ride along with Connor, which I talked about previously, A contractor came to us with a product issue, and instead of immediately offering a replacement, Connor asked for a series of questions first to actually understand what had gone wrong. Diagnose before you prescribe. That idea has generally stuck with me since that day, and I've caught myself applying it to situations well outside of retail. Looking back on the summer as a whole, I'd call this a strong experience, and I want to explain why. I gained real confidence talking to customers I never met before. I sharpened how I communicate under pressure, and I came away with a genuine understanding of how a customer-focused business actually runs day to day. Not just the theory of it, I also want to be honest about the hardest part. The point of sale system was genuinely difficult for me to learn. That wasn't something from my coursework, it was just something I had to work through on the floor, and it took weeks of repetition and asking the same questions more than once before it clicked. On average, when I asked my employees when I first started working, they said it took them about 2 to 3 months to learn, and some are still mastering it and they worked there for years. The POS system is a super old system that probably needs some updates if you were to ask me. It was very finicky, and if you messed up once, you had to start over. But pushing through that taught me more about patience and persistence than anything easily would have. And it's a reminder that not every valuable lesson from an internship comes from a textbook. And even though my long-term goal is finance and wealth management, the confidence, communication, and relationship building skills I built at Sherwin-Williams will carry directly into a career, no matter what industry I end up in. Lastly, I would like to thank Sherwin-Williams for a great experience, and I plan to continue working for them down in Toledo, where I've already talked to a store manager down there where I can work while I continue my education. It has truly been a great experience, and I would recommend this internship to anybody who is pursuing a degree in business. Thank you for watching.